What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Network's very own Fantasy Football Huddle, presented by the Danklyfe brand and yours truly, Dallas Clark. Today, we're getting into all of those trade targets, those buy lows, and some sell highs going into week 4. Because right now, if you're 0-3, it's absolutely time to make a deal. You got to improve your lineup, even if it means breaking one elite player up into multiple assets that can help your team out. You want to target teams that are 3-0, and if you have to, 2-1 teams, because they're more likely to deal to you. And you really want to chase that upside. Your back is already against the wall, so you've got nothing to lose. You want to target players who have not hit their ceiling yet, and they have untapped upside. And we're going to talk about some players that you should be getting rid of this episode, as well as some players that you should be acquiring as well. Personally, when you look at the tight end and wide receiver production, it's very streaky. There's a lot of up and downs. Even when you look at the top wide receivers and tight ends right now, you're looking at tight end being full of a bunch of people that have performed well for 1 week and have been trash for 2 weeks this season. Wide receiver, you're looking at some of the top wide receivers like Jamar Chase struggling for the first 2 weeks and having a good week in week 3, and then Tyreek Hill being the exact opposite, having a good first 2 weeks, and then now having a very big dip in his floor with the loss of not only one Tua Tagovailoa, but quarterback 2 in Skylar Thompson as well. So when it comes to that production, I like to advocate you selling high and buying low on the wide receiver and tight end position due to that streaky play, that up and down constant that you get when it comes to tight end and wide receiver. When you're looking at running back production, it's more steady unless you see an injury or a significant role change. And if you see a running back who you think their role might be changing soon, and I think you know who I'm talking about, you definitely might consider selling high on that running back while you have the chance. Going into everything today, we want to make sure we smash that like button because you have no idea how much it helps me out, and hit that subscriptions bar as well as that notifications bell so you always know what's going on here on the Huddle Chat Sports Network. Now, without further ado, let's fill up our cup, roll something up, and get right into the news when it comes into the trade analyzer for week 4. Starting off with some buy low targets, we're going to be looking at T. Higgins first and foremost from the Cincinnati Bengals. He finally has returned, and you're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals finally getting their back to form, getting to the team that you think they were going to be on paper. T. Higgins, when you look, he is averaging over 14.8 points per game with Joe Burrow when they are playing together. So I'm looking at him and I'm saying that you have a lot of untapped time with him and Joe Burrow through this last season. He finished as wide receiver 40 last season, which just is not fair to the talent of this team or to T. Higgins himself. So I'm looking to try to trade somebody like Xavier Worthy or Devin Singletary to get my hands on T. Higgins. Another buy low trade target we're looking at is going to be Devon Achane for the Miami Dolphins. Like I said earlier, they're down Tua Tagovailoa and Skylar Thompson. So you're looking at Devon Achane and a lot of people being afraid of having Dolphins players right now, rightfully so. So you're looking at people trying to ship off Devon Achane, and it's not going to be a terrible buy low. You're still going to have a decent price when it comes to Devon Achane, even though he's coming off of that down week. I'm looking at him maybe getting somebody like Kyron Williams or Jordan Mason over to get me myself some Devon Achane right now while the upside is low for him and people are not as high on him as they were a couple of weeks ago. Before we get into our last buy low target, I want to make sure you check out Sunday's live stream that we do, the pregame NFL kickoff show that we do there. We do some late minute injury reports. We do some betting lines there. We do some fantasy football advice, everything you need to know. So make sure you tune in Sunday mornings, 9:30 Mountain Standard Time, and Sunday morning, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time out on the East Coast. Now make sure you smash that like button as well as that subscriptions bar again. And our last buy low is going to be Brandon Ayuk. It's been absolutely maddening having Brandon Ayuk on your team, as it points out to this comment that I got on my video a couple of days ago. Now, when they're asking that, I'm a little concerned having Brandon Ayuk just because, especially, it depends on your team's record. If I'm 0-3, I'm extremely worried because I don't have as much time to sit and be patient. However, I do have Brandon Ayuk as a buy low. You're looking at him through these first 3 weeks, only having 11 catches for 119 yards and no touchdowns. You're looking at Deebo Samuel and George Kittle most likely being out at least one more game. And Brandon Ayuk had a 33% target share last week, which is more than double what he normally gets when both George Kittle and Deebo Samuel are in the lineup. So you're looking at him having a potential to explode this week. So you want to get your hands on him before he does that, because that would be your last opportunity to buy low. We know that he's talented, and it's been a rough, unfair start for Brandon Ayuk, maybe due to some rust for not playing any of the preseason or training camp. But you're looking at somebody like J.K. Dobbins you might be able to send over to get your hands on Brandon Ayuk. Now let's talk about some targets that we should be selling here over the next few days. One person I'm thinking about selling high on is DK Metcalf. He's got 2 straight games with more than 100 yards and a touchdown. He's outside of the top 15 in targets currently, and he's ranked 23rd overall in target share, plus being ranked 26th in targets per route. I feel like the odds and the numbers are not in DK's favor to keep this production up. He hasn't even led the Seattle Seahawks in targets in a game yet. I'm seeking a wide receiver 1 or even high value RB2 production value in return for DK Metcalf. I think he has a similar outlook to Mike Evans. I'm not saying you get rid of DK Metcalf for nothing, but if you can't sell him this week, you're looking at potentially a shootout against Detroit on Monday Night Football, or another home game following that up against the New York Giants, where he could definitely explode if you make a move on him at all. Currently, he's the 7th best wide receiver in a PPR standpoint, so you definitely could get some pretty decent value for DK Metcalf at the current moment. Another player I'm selling high on is going to be Kyren Williams from the Los Angeles Rams. People were talking about him as a sell high last week, and he was flipping into the end zone at least 3 times last week, and it made his value even higher, which makes you maybe even afraid to sell him right now. But you're looking at Kyren Williams averaging 3 yards per carry right now. He's an inefficient runner in a mid-tier offense on a very bad team. It's just not going to work out for Kyren Williams in the long run. I think his role does not maintain the way it is now. You're looking at Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua potentially coming back later in the season. I think that Kyren Williams is going to maintain, of course, running back 2 production, but I don't think it's going to be easy for him to maintain what he's done thus far throughout the season. The last player I'm talking about in this trade analyzing episode is going to be Stefon Diggs, and we're selling high on Stefon Diggs. He's coming off a good start so far and a big week 3. You're looking at his role being very subject to change when you look at Nico Collins emerging back as that wide receiver 1, Tank Dell rebounding, and he will be getting more targets and more attention in this offense. And plus, they might be leaning on the run more when Joe Mixon returns from his injury. I'm looking for an RB2 in return for Stefon Diggs, a Brian Robinson Jr., a Devin Singletary, or I'd even take a Scary Terry if I could. I might even put together a package involving a Sam Laporta or a Brock Bowers for Stefon Diggs. I'm not selling him for nothing, but I think that Stefon Diggs, like I said, you're looking at that streaky production when it comes to pass catchers, and I think Stefon Diggs is definitely in line for a couple of low weeks here in the future, and that's going to be it for the trade analyzing episode this week. We also got some stardoms and situms coming up by the end of the day or tomorrow for you guys. And then I got some other options for you, as well as, like I told you earlier in the episode, that Sunday live stream that we do here on the Huddle Chat Sports Network. So make sure if you haven't yet, you smash that subscriptions bar as well as that notifications bell, and you hit that like button because you have no idea how much it helps out. I'm going to see y'all next time. Make sure you keep your chin up and your attitude down. Peace.